I love talking about collective bargaining. I love watching it unravel, unspool. I love how organized baseball always was, from the commissioner to the head of labor, all the way down to the ranks of the labor department, the LRD, it's called, Labor Relations Department, all the way to teams' front offices. We are focusing on the collective bargaining agreement, not just while it's being negotiated. We focus on the CBA every single day something comes up. I would tell you, and I'm not exaggerating, there was not 2 days that would go by in a row without somebody talking to the LRD in our baseball department or our front office talking about the existing CBA or what we're trying to find in a new CBA. Commissioners have taken different tacks as they navigate how to deal with the new CBA and negotiation, lockout, strikes, all the things that come normally with management and labor. All of it's normal. Rob Manfred, as he enters supposedly into the sunset of his being commissioner, as very many worthy candidates are trying to differentiate themselves with one doing even better than most, Rob has decided this is a unique and perfect opportunity to try something different because he knows he's got an owner situation where there could be turbulent waters ahead in terms of the negotiation. So what Rob has decided to do was to go straight at the union, and I mean early. The negotiating of the next CBA, which expires in December of 2026, it'll officially get going. And when I say officially, I want to explain that that's a legal term. When you officially start bargaining for a new agreement, it's when you choose the shape of the table, you choose the location, you have official sessions. Hey, we're going to do a session on Tuesday from 9 to 11 a.m. And we'll do it at this place with these people. There's committee on both the player side, on the owner's side, official bargaining. And the reason that matters is from a legal standpoint, if you're going to have a lockout or a strike, there's federal laws involved here to protect workers in theory. And so you have to do things by the book. What Rob's doing now is sort of the pre-book. It's like the research for the book. It's what you're doing when you're thinking about how do I gain a true advantage. And he just came out and said, there seems to be kind of a mismatch, he said. And this was to investors at an event held by the Atlanta Braves. Reminder, the Atlanta Braves are a publicly held team. Reminder, when you're a publicly held team, there's a level of disclosure for that company that is far greater than any privately held team. Reminder, there are investors in publicly held companies, and I don't mean the people who buy 2 shares of stock of the Green Bay Packers. The Atlanta Braves, different story. When you have a public company, you have earnings projections, you have earnings and calls with analysts from Wall Street. There's all sorts of things you have to do. You have investor events. Rob Manfred spoke at one of these investor events, and he said, there's kind of a mismatch between what we see at the union leadership level and what the players are thinking. That's a major statement. Less so if you remember the history. Last collective bargaining agreement, there was a vote taken when a deal was finally made. Here's who gets to vote to ratify an agreement between players and management. 30 player reps, and then every member of the Players' Executive Council. The last time the CBA got approved after the season was delayed, there was overwhelming support from player reps and underwhelming support from the Executive Council. So normally the Executive Council would be telling players, here's what we think, you should think the same. But the last CBA, it was the opposite. When Rob tells you there's a mismatch between union leadership, he's not just talking about Tony Clark or Bruce Mayer. He's talking about player v player. And when you can drive a stake between players, it's a winner. So he decided, and he said this, the strategy is to get directly to the players. I don't think the leadership of this union is anxious to lead the way to change. So we need to energize the workforce in order to get them familiar with, Rob said, or supportive of the idea that maybe change in the system could be good for everybody. Oh, Rob, you couldn't have said it better. When you're trying to effectuate change that will appease the people you work for, the 30 owners, and you know that there's going to be rough waters with the union, there's no better way to do it than by telling the union, you may not get it, but I promise you it's going to be way better for you. And then you can mask it by winning all sorts of points in labor negotiating, like pension and things that really current day players aren't overly focused on, or on limits of salaries, or on limits of how many years you can go in a contract. But if you raise the minimum salary, you can appeal to an overwhelming majority of union members who don't ever make it to arbitration. So what would be better than by saying, hey, listen, stop paying attention to the top of the union and these guys making $700 million. The focus should be on yourselves and people who come after you who won't even make it to arbitration or free agency. And we're going to get you more because we're going to raise the minimum salary. And then while you're not paying attention, we are going to have a quashing impact on overall payroll. We're going to have a quashing impact on the top of the market. We are going to go after Boris in a way that would give you night sweats, but you're going to vote for it. You're going to love it because your leadership is going to lie to you because they are absolute victims of the top. But you're going to vote for it at the bottom because we're going to explain it to you. It's genius. Now, it doesn't mean there won't be a lockout. It doesn't mean there won't be missed games, but I absolutely loved it. Now, Tony Clark has no choice but to say, which he said in a statement to The Athletic after Rob's comments were made at the Braves investor event, he said, hey, this is just a sales pitch by Rob. It's full of misleading or downright false statements. He suggested the commissioner was trying to drive a wedge between players. Yes, he is. Every day.